wait is over.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the studios in the wrestling capital of the South, it's another terrific episode of The BENGEBUSTER Show. Please welcome your host, Tony Binge.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to The BENGEBUSTER Show. Big week going on this week in pro wrestling and rock and roll. And we're going to get into that right away. I want to bring on my co-host right now. I'm talking about none other than Mr. Rock and Roll Playboy himself, Chris Plano. Chris, what is going on?
Woo, terrific, Tony. We are back. I'm excited about tonight's show. We have a lot to talk about. Professional wrestling. We're talking about stadium rock concert tours and everything else in between. And we're in the month of June, and boy, the temperatures are surely heating up.
Yeah, it really is. And, man, everybody's chomping at the bit. And, after two years, we've been planning out this stadium tour, and it looks like we're one day away from the show starting. Tomorrow, the stadium tour opens up, and they're playing in Atlanta. And I know you and I had hopes of going down there, but unfortunately, scheduling comes into play. So we're not going to be in Atlanta, but we're definitely going to be in Charlotte just in a couple of weeks. And we'll get more into that a little bit later, Chris. But, man, lots of rumors and innuendos going on in the wrestling world, And the BENGEBUSTER Show is not my podcast is not to throw dirt on anybody. We try to stay positive, but two huge wrestling personalities making the news this week. Chris, I'll let you tell yours first, and then I'll tell mine. But what is the big scandal that not scandal, but the big news that you found out?
Boy, Tony, it broke. What were we into? Wednesday here. It broke just earlier this week about Jeff Hardy. One half of the tag team champions of both. The AEW, WWE. They've held tag team championships all over the world. The Hardy Boys. Jeff Hardy. Tony, you got to shake your head a little bit. Back in trouble again. It seems just when you think he's cleared a hurdle and back on the right path, he's getting pulled over by law enforcement again. Not once, not twice, but now a third. A DUI in the state of Florida for Jeff Hardy, and what makes it even worse, he was driving without a license that was actively revoked as well, which really puts more salt in the wound, and really for Matt and Jeff, they were currently in a major angle within All Elite Wrestling, and also doing many independent wrestling show appearances as well, and now in the state of Florida, Jeff's got himself really in a humdinger this time, and boy, 3 times in less than 10 years. Getting a DUI, he's going to have some real good legal representation on this go around.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Chris. He's definitely gonna have to lawyer up on this one. But I do know I saw the release from Tony Khan. Tony suspended Jeff with no pay. But said if he goes to rehab, he'll give me his contract back. I would, and Jeff, and I've met Jeff, and he's such a nice, wholesome, down to earth guy. I'm definitely pulling for him. I really believe that he's gonna make it through here. But I think at this point in time, This is the moment where he's got to put everything in his heart, mind, and soul into beating these demons and getting his life back together.
Absolutely. His blood alcohol content, was supposedly a little more than 3 times the legal limit, which was, zero point 0.8 which is in all 50 states now within the United States. He blew, I believe, a 0.25 or something along that line. I believe I'm pretty close. And, Tony, and I know we have several subjects to talk about, but you want to go out and have a good time, and you want to get
podcast.
Right.
And you want to get intoxicated. Great. That's great. But he has all the legal right to do that. And any adult has a legal right to do that. But you make the decision at that point then to get behind the wheel. And then you're making a decision as an adult, whether you're a superstar on television every week or you're the guy down the road working for minimum wage or anything in between, or a CEO of a company or whatever it might be. You're not only putting your own life in danger, you're putting other lives in danger as well. And, Jeff's on a course, and if he doesn't get straightened out outside of the ring here, whatever that takes, he's going to need a lot of support from his family, from friends, from his brother, from everyone. It's not just him. And, if someone doesn't get a handle on this, either Jeff or some other innocent people somewhere down the road are going to be really, really severely affected because of decisions that he's making on the road. And, Tony, whether he's in Florida, driving back to North Carolina, or just around town, whatever he's doing, he's got so much money as it is. I mean, there's just so many options out there today where you don't have to get behind the wheel of a car if you've been drinking or under the influence. And it just baffles my mind a little bit, because a lot of this could have been totally unavoidable. And I just think it's just making inhibited decisions under the influence is costing him this is going to cost him an exorbitant amount of money, this go around. And you just don't know when it stops. But for Jeff Hardy, not the best of news. He refused treatment in the WWE. He said he's going to get treatment here with AEW. That remains to be seen, but it's going to be a long road ahead, even beyond the treatment for him, just staying sober.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I like I said, I think if he can get the much needed help that he needs and deserves, I do believe that he'll come out on the other side. But it's very, very, very unfortunate time because I believe he and Matt were signed to have a ladder match, a tag match or something like that on AEW. This week, and unfortunately, I believe that match, the Hardys were taken out of it, and Matt was placed in something else. But here at the BengeBuster Show, we do nothing more but wish Jeff the absolute best. And hope and pray that that everything works out the way it should. Now, here's my dirt, Chris, that I just found out right before we started recording our podcast. As we hear this classic music playing in the background, the Washington Post is reporting that Vince McMahon agreed to pay an ex-WWE employee after an alleged affair. What has been told is the investigation reported that they uncovered several older agreements related to misconduct claims that a former female WWE employee brought up against Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis. The board also found that Vince McMahon paid this person $3 million. But unfortunately, the board found this out because they received a series of anonymous emails from somebody claiming to be the friend of this woman, and they pretty much blew the whistle on this. Chris, I mean, WWE is a major national traded company on the stock market, and I actually own a few shares of it myself. And you have to understand, WWE is not, it's not a technical quote wrestling company anymore. It's an entertainment company. It's publicly traded, and you have to make sure your I's are dotted, your T's are crossed. Chris, I mean, this right here could really spell disaster for the chairman of the board.
Well, yeah, Mr. McMahon, as known as the chairman of the board, this is not, in today's society with everything that's just examined under a microscope, Tony, today with national news and social media and everything else out there, this is not good news for the McMahon family, not good news for WWE. And yes, it is a publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange. I'm sure this is catching some people off guard. This is something that is probably not going to be going away very soon now that it's out there. People are wanting to get down to the nitty gritty before this is all said and done. But Vince McMahon definitely could be facing, not only charges against, the individual, that may be suing him at this point, or charges against the individual, but also further charges as well on potentially a federal and state level. This not good for outside of the ring news from the McMahon family. And I don't know if I'd want to be at the table talking to his wife, Linda, either. Right.
Yeah, me neither. It's definitely going to be, and it almost makes you wonder. Just a couple of weeks ago, we heard that Stephanie McMahon took a leave of absence, and you got to wonder, was part of this rumor, one of the reasons why she chose to take that leave of absence. I mean, there's so many unanswered questions that I'm sure is going to come out as the days and weeks go by.
I believe it was reported publicly that Stephanie was taking time off to address family matters or some situations. I was just thinking it might have been just with her personally and kids and Triple H, but it could be a little deeper.
Yeah.
Than that. And obviously Shane has been off TV for a good while now, other than some spot appearances here and there. And you really haven't seen Linda McMahon on at all recently, and outside of Vince making a few pop-in appearances here and there, but he really hasn't been on, to my knowledge, recently, maybe even before WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think you're right. But it's definitely going to be something to see how this plays out. And again, man, you don't want to see anybody end up in some trouble. So let's definitely hope that Vince McMahon's lawyers, who I know is some of the best lawyers in the business, Vince's attorney Jerry McDevitt has taken over the suit, and so we're hoping that he'll get that worked out and hopefully clear Mr. McMahon's name, and figure out what is really going on here. So it's going to be something to see. Now, Chris, I want to go move on to a new segment on the Binge Buster Show. Fans, if any of you listeners out there follow Chris, every Thursday, is it Thursday or Friday, Chris will go on his Facebook and kind of give everyone an update on where to see live music at and who's playing. And so I thought it'd be a great addition to our show as we add in this new segment called Plano's Live Music Pulse. This is the debut of this show, and Chris, we're gonna play your music in the background, man. So what I like to do is turn the microphone over to you for Plano's Live Music Pulse for this week. Take it away, Chris.
Wow, Tony, thank you very much. And for the fans out there listening, yes, I do put out a weekly music blog on my Facebook page at Chris Plano, trying to highlight all the local music scene in and around the Charlotte, North Carolina area. And not just the music scene, but also kind of the places to check out where I feel are the best places to watch music locally, both from an acoustic standpoint, from just an overall venue setting standpoint. So there's other things that go into my selections for the week. But as we know, Tony, a big concert coming to Charlotte this Friday night at PNC Music Pavilion. Kid Rock is back in town in Charlotte this Friday with Grand Funk Railroad, and PNC is definitely going to be hopping this Friday night. That is the marquee show to check out this weekend. And I know, Tony, you know a lot of his hits.
Yes, definitely. Chris, Kid Rock is he's up there as one of my my all-time favorite artists. He started out doing the rap, I call it the rap rock, but he was doing that, and now he's ventured out and done a few country songs. And man, who could forget that great duet that he came out with probably 20 years ago, 15 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
Picture with Sheryl Crow, and man, that song blew up. And but I'm excited to have Kid Rock here in the Carolinas, and man, it's going to be a great weekend. I know the Binge Buster Show, we usually talk a lot about wrestling, but this week we are going to touch on some wrestling, but the show's going to mostly be dedicated to the 2-year wait is finally over, and we are getting ready to just in 2 weeks. Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, Joan Jett. They invade Panther Stadium here in the Queen City of Charlotte, and Chris, it's going to be a show for the ages.
Yes, it is. The stadium tour is finally here. The long await is over. Tony, last you and I checked, all the bands are already in Atlanta, Georgia. Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, Joan Jett, Classic Act, are in town the day before. The stage is set up. I mean, Atlanta's going to be on fire tomorrow night with this stadium tour, and it's going to be the first of many cities that they're going to be hitting through the month of September. And Motley Crue has some history in Atlanta,
man,
with one of their most famous songs.
Yes, they do. They do.
Well.
And it's definitely going to be something to see. And of course, once we get into the podcast, I'll share some thoughts with you, Chris, and the listeners at home. Now, before we get into the main event of our podcast, I'm going to. Everyone's talking about the Ric Flair coming out of retirement, one last match taking place in Nashville, Tennessee, just here in the next few weeks as well. One of the other hints I'm going to drop on who Ric Flair's opponent is going to be in this one. These guys pretty much tore anytime they had a match, whether it was the very first match that was televised on television, or up until the very last time that they wrestled each other. This guy was synonymous with Ric Flair, almost as much as Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. So it's definitely going to be a great event. If you can't be in Nashville to witness that, there is a website that you can go on. I'm not going to get that website here on our podcast because, we don't pay them, they don't pay us, so we're not going to promote it. Other than the fact to tell you people to make sure that you go check out Flair's Facebook page. He's got all kind of information about that upcoming event. Also, Chris, Ric Flair was here back in Charlotte. I saw on his Facebook page he and Wendy Barlow had taken a picture out in front of one of the nice restaurants there in South Park.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think he was in town to see one of Wendy's children graduate high school. So it was great having the Nature Boy back here in Charlotte, North Carolina, his former hometown. But as most of you know, now he makes his home in Tampa, Florida. Seems like a lot of wrestlers go there, huh, Chris? Hogan was there.
Yeah,
Savage,
Hogan, Brutus Beefcake, right? All those guys.
Yeah, but
B. Brian Blair and Steve Kern, right? Now, all those guys, man, they're down that way.
Florida is like a hotbed. Always has been a hotbed for wrestling. And from what Flair talks about, Tampa's a good place to live. I know I didn't get it. The last time I was in Florida a couple of years ago, I wanted to check it out, but a hellacious storm came up. I did get to go down to Clearwater Beach, and I checked, and I got to check out Hogan's Hangout, Hogan's Beach Shop, and I saw it, both of them, for about 2 minutes because literally, guys, a torrential downpour out there. Chris, I thought I was in the middle of a hurricane. That rain and wind that was coming in so hard and fast. But hopefully, next year maybe I can make another trip down to Florida and we can check that out. But definitely something to see. The Ric Flair reunion, or the Ric Flair final match is going to be coming up here in the next few weeks. So make sure you check it out and tune in next week, as I will have a much more clearer hint. But I think if most people are diehard Ric Flair fans, or even wrestling fans in general, the two hints I've threw out over the last couple of weeks should tell you who that gentleman's going to be. I'm excited about that. Now, it's time. We're going to take a quick little break, and when we come back, Chris and I are going to finally get to talk about the long-awaited 2-year wait of the Stadium Tour coming to you this summer from Live Nation and all the top bands: Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, and Joan Jett. We'll be right back right after this, fans.
Def Leppard, Motley Crue, the Stadium Tour with Poison and Joan Jett of the Blackhearts. Get tickets now at Live Nation. Strap yourself in, because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
All right, fans, we are back. Chris, man, just hearing that little 30-second commercial, it's got the hairs of my arms and back of my neck standing up. And man, after 2 years, I am ready to go to the Stadium Tour.
Tony, we are here. The long awaited. I mean, the announcement seemed like it was so long ago that these bands are all forming together, and now the reality, we've survived COVID-19, the ups and downs. There was even a period of time where people even thought, was this tour going to even happen? And now it is going to happen. The bands are ready to go. They're fired up. They've been practicing. It's going to be something that I think you will never, ever see again.
Yeah.
As it comes to these bands from the 80s, Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, Joan Jett, you're going to get a little bit of everything, and you're going to get 6-7 hours. If you get in there when this thing starts around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you're going to get 6-7 hours of rock and roll music. And if your ears aren't left blaring, I don't know what would be.
Yeah, I'm super pumped up about it. The backstory on this tour was back on December the 4th, 2019. The Stadium Tour was announced by Motley Crue, Poison, Def Leppard, and Joan Jett. They were all on hand on Sirius XM as they held the press conference. And talked about it. But definitely, Chris, what really got the Stadium Tour kicked off was the great Netflix documentary or movie, The Dirt, which is the movie about the life of Motley Crue. And if you haven't had a chance to watch that yet, you either A, don't have Netflix, or B, been living under a rock. But Go check it out. I highly recommend it. But when that movie came out, it was like it opened up doors to younger people that didn't get a chance to see Motley Crue because they had retired, back in 2015, or 2016 actually was the last the last time they played. But a lot of younger kids didn't have that chance to see Motley Crue, and once they saw the movie, they're like, "Damn, we missed out." So I think that helped Motley Crue decide, hey, we need to get back together. We need to do this tour. And Chris, I can't help but believe that had COVID-19 not came out, this stadium tour would have sold way more tickets than what it already has. Not saying it hasn't sold a lot, because it has, but I think if COVID-19 hadn't crushed it 2 years ago, there's no telling how big this tour would have gotten.
Oh, no, correct. At this point, they're fulfilling the stadium tour here in the U.S. and some candidates that they do have on the books right now. Who knows how big this could have gotten from a worldwide standpoint? Not really sure at this point. But yes, has COVID had an effect on the tour? Absolutely. It's had an effect across the music industry from top to bottom. And, can they still sell tickets between now and show times? Absolutely. But prices are also at a premium as well in certain markets, across the U.S., depending on where they're playing, size of venue, and which days they're playing on. But, it's going to be monumental. It's going to be great. I'm glad the tour is going to happen. I'm excited. For the fans, they're going to get a sprinkle of each band. And that's really, I believe, what the tour is all about. Motley Crue and Def Leppard are alternating every other show as the headliner. Def Leppard will kick it off tomorrow night in Atlanta as the headliner. Then they'll go to Motley Crue and then back to Def Leppard and so forth and so on. It'll be great for the fans. And who knows how much longer these bands are going to be touring. That's the big thing. What is beyond this tour for these bands? Right. Especially Motley Crue, who said 5-6 years ago, this is it.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And talking about that, Chris, I was really hoping to be able to make it down to Atlanta for opening night, because as everyone knows, I've talked about this before on the podcast, but I'll mention it one more time. I saved up my money for a year and sold some pretty some really cool collectible things that I had to raise money to go out to LA, which was definitely one of my childhood dreams. But not many people, and I'm very proud of this, but not many people can say, hey, I went out and I got to see my favorite band play their final show in their hometown, and I got to do that like I said, 2015, 2016, I got to go out to LA for the first time. I got to walk down Sunset Boulevard and stand in front of the whiskey, the whiskey and the rainbow, and got to walk like behind the whiskey and see Motley Crue's the infamous Motley Crue apartment. And man, I just took a few days and went out there with one of my high school buddies, and man, we lived it up. And of course, at the time, I didn't know a whole lot about LA like I do now, so I missed out on a whole bunch of other stuff. But man, we had a blast. I even ran into Jeff Tremaine, the producer of Jackass, which incidentally, he was also the producer of The Dirt, and he was also the producer of the home video that they made of the final show. And Chris, I can't even go on this podcast and put into words just what it was like, because like I have seen Motley Crue play in Greensboro and Charlotte, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, over the years, but seeing Motley Crue play in Los Angeles, their hometown, it was just like
that's on a different level.
Yeah, it was like being at the Greensboro Coliseum when Starrcade came to town and Flair came out. I mean, it was big like that, and it was amazing. And that night, Chris, I remember I texted you a photograph of where of the stage after the show had ended, and it was like it was like the stage blew up, confetti everywhere, the lights were down, but you could still see the drums and the PAs and stuff. And I remember you texting me back and going, you said something like, the end of an era has finally came. And all those years, man, went by. I thought, man, I'll never see Motley Crue again. And here we are, 2022.
We are.
And we're just a day away from opening night and 2 weeks away from you and I partying in the Queen City, and hopefully doing a live podcast, or maybe not even a podcast, but at least a live Facebook feed of the show. So super excited about that. But let's get back into this stadium tour as far as how important it is. The opening date is June the 16th. They're opening there in Atlanta. And it looks like as of right now, the last show on the bill is going to be September the 9th, in Las Vegas. Another cool place I've been. But Chris, like you said earlier on, Def Leppard, Motley Crue, alternating night by night on who's closing which town. Unfortunately for us, and I'm not knocking Def Leppard, but Charlotte, Def Leppard is closing out the show. But for us, Chris, that means that we might be able to get out of the building a little sooner.
Yeah, Tony, this is going to be an interesting tour. I mean, let's be honest. This is going to be a marathon, each city that they hit. The opening act, Classless act, comes on just a little bit before 4 p.m. Then Joan Jett's up next. You know, she's off early. If you want to see Joan Jett, you better be in the building early, because if you waltz in around 7, 8 o'clock, you're going to be you-know-what.
Yep.
And that's the same for Poison as well. I mean, I believe if we have gotten some privy to some set list times, you and I ahead of time, it looks like Poison's off the stage around 7 o'clock-ish. And so you really need to plan accordingly if you want to see some of the earlier bands, because then they're rolling into Motley Crue, Def Leppard, or Def Leppard, Motley Crue, depending on who is closing, pretty much from 7:30 up to the 11 o'clock curfew time, depending on what city you're hitting. But, you know, Def Leppard and Motley Crue have loyal followings. I don't want to say that the fans are so similar, but they are at the same time kind of a little bit different as well. I mean, it would not surprise me to see some Motley Crue fans leave early if Def Leppard is closing, or maybe a little bit through their set. It would not surprise me, vice versa, if some Def Leppard fans were leaving if Motley Crue was closing. It's nothing against either band, but I think some of that is going to be lingering out there just by the audiences that they draw. Yeah,
I agree. And there is a Facebook page that Chris and I follow. I wish I'd found it sooner, but I found it the other day. But it's called the Stadium Tour. And if you go on there right now, 23 minutes ago, someone just uploaded a sneak peek, Chris, of the stage. I'm looking at it right now as we speak. And man, my goodness, man, what I wouldn't do to be able to be in Atlanta tomorrow night for opening night. The stage looks tremendously huge. Big screens, laser lights, man, speakers galore. Dude, this show is going to be one for the ages, and I'm excited that we finally are going to be able to go there. Want to break down a couple things, Chris, real quick.
Sure.
I'm gonna get your thought, okay, from each band. So and we're gonna start off with Poison. So over the years, I know you have seen Poison a lot, just like I have.
A lot.
What tour do you think was the absolute best that you remember going to?
Oh, that I remember going to, Tony. You know, I'm going to go to like when they went on that tour in the early 2000s, the Power to the People tour.
I have to agree, because that was mine too.
You know, they were still playing deep cuts on that tour that Poison does not play today. And they were really into it with the fans. They're into it with the fans every tour. Don't get me wrong, but that particular tour sticks out because the hits, the girls were still going crazy. Now we're talking Poison of 20 years ago. Here when we say that tour. So again, they're all in a different age bracket. Bret Michaels is like 39, 40 years old versus now he's pushing 60. You know, so you know the girls were still going crazy. You know, much more. Not that they don't go crazy today, they do, but it was a different era. That tour sticks out to me amongst all the times, and I've seen Bret solo. And I've seen, obviously, Bret with Poison as well. But that tour that I saw, I believe, 2 or 3 times that year definitely sticks out to me. And one of the stops was Charlotte.
Yeah. And incidentally, Chris, I'll tell you a cool story behind that. During that tour, I was a traveling salesman. I was on the road all the time. Early 20s, man, I was having the time of my life. And I was driving down the road. I got up that early that morning at like 4 a.m., hit the road. I was driving up I-40 going up to Western North Carolina, and they had announced that Best Buy in Hickory, North Carolina, that if you went there that day and bought the CD Power to the People, you could get a free ticket to the concert. And the concert was, if I remember, I believe that was like on a Tuesday that the album was released, and they were playing Charlotte that Saturday. And if you went to the Best Buy there in Hickory at the mall and purchased the album, with that you got a free ticket to the concert. And I remember going up there, and of course the young girl that was ringing me up, I bought the CD, and I said, hey, I heard on the radio that if I buy the CD, I can get a free ticket to the concert. And she said, yeah. And so anyway, I flirted with her a little bit, Chris. Imagine that. I flirted with her a little bit, and ended up, she gave me 6 tickets instead of 1. Oh
man, you scored.
Yeah, so she gave me 6 tickets. So what I ended up doing was, at the time, I was running my little wrestling company that I had. So me and my cousin Mark and my cousin John and my friend Kenny, us 4 went, and then at the gate I sold the other 2 tickets for $100, 50 a piece. So I did pretty good. And then end up running into you there. And that was the first time you and I had saw each other. In a long time.
I remember it.
Yeah, you came right to me. You was like, Tony. I'm like, Chris Plano, and we stood there and talked a little bit.
Yeah, that was wild, man. That was wild. And dude, I know. Hey, if you held those tickets up out front, you'd have 15 girls.
Man, I know.
All you need would be a cigar in your mouth.
Right? Yeah, Big Daddy Cool right there. But one of the things that sticks out the most to me about that concert, Chris, was. And I'm really trying hard, because I used to see Poison every summer there, but I believe that was the year that they had Slaughter, Quiet Riot. It was Slaughter, Quiet Riot, And there was one
was
other.
it Faster Pussycat?
Faster Pussycat. That's it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I couldn't remember who the fourth one was because they had 4 bands that day. But you're right. It was Faster Pussycat. No, it was Quiet Riot, Warrant, and
was it Cinderella? No, Cinderella.
Cinderella. That's it. You're right.
Yeah.
It was Quiet Riot, Warrant, Cinderella, and Poison. All 4 of those on that bill, and I got to see it for free, and I made $100. So it was a good night. And then a crazy thing, and I know we're kind of getting off this podcast, but this is a funny story. I ran into a couple other people. Ran into my old crazy friend Alton. He was there too. But after the show, we left and drove about 15 minutes away from the stadium, or not stadium, but the amphitheater.
Nice.
And we went to a Waffle House, and there was a shit ton of people there from the concert because they was all wearing Poison shirts, right? And let me rewind it. So while we're at the show, I managed to get several girls to. Well, let's just say I was being Tommy Lee, okay? I was getting all these Chris, I had these chicks in the every time I'd see a girl, I'd say flash me, and they'd flash us, right? And so we get to the get to the Waffle House. The place is packed. Everybody's there wearing Poison t-shirts. So we walk in, and these couple girls start looking at us, and so I'm trying to kayfabe them, right? I'm trying not to pay them attention, and so anyway, the one chick comes over and she's like, "Hey, I saw you at the Poison show," and I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "What gave you that idea?" And of course, at the time, I had long hair, and she made a comment that well, we all 4 of us had long hair. But she made a comment that she didn't understand how we were men. Well, she didn't say men. She said guys. How we were guys, but had such great hair. And I said, well, we know how to take care of our stuff. And so anyway, she left. They left, and of course, and they were drunk. They left, and I'm sitting there eating my hash browns. And I look up at the window, and the 2 chicks came up to the window and flashed us and put their boobs up to the window, and everybody in the Waffle House was going nuts. And my friend Kenny's like, "Dude, you had girls flashing us at the show. You got girls flashing us at the Waffle House. Nobody will ever believe this story." And I said, "Yeah, but here's where the big trouble came in at. Of course, I was taking pictures of all this. And at the time, here's some dirt on me. At the time, I was married to a preacher's daughter, right, Chris?
Oh, Lord! And
of course, this is, like you said, early 2000s. So smartphones were not out, camera phones were not out yet. So I had like this little 35 millimeter camera, and when I get a girl to flash, boom, I take a picture. And and again, going back, I'm a traveling salesman, so I throw the camera in my closet when I get back in town and forget about it. 2 months go by. I come home from work, and my wife's pissed at me, and I couldn't understand why. And then she told me, "Hey, I was trying to do something nice for you. I took this camera of yours to Walmart, and a girl from our church was developing the film, and she develops it. She's like, I don't know if you want to see these pictures." She's like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "Well, there's a bunch of girls with their shirts off." And my ex-wife was like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh, that wasn't me. Mark and Kenny took those pictures. They had my camera." And she's like, "Really? How is that possible when you're posing with one of these girls?"
Man,
that was the beginning. That was the beginning of the downward spiral of the divorce.
Oh man, she's putting you in the figure 4 leg lock, pretty much.
Man, but hey, I was living out the Poison song. Nothing but a good time. Hey,
you were living out the dream, living, and other people that will live vicariously through you.
That's right. I had a good time. But
Tony, I don't know if those days. I still think those days are somewhat like it today, but not like like it used to be back in the day. It's not like it used to be. No.
Girls,
now it's like an act of Congress.
Oh yeah. It's like times have definitely changed, and maybe next week we'll do a podcast on that. As far as like groupies, are groupies still coming to the shows? I don't know if they are. I mean, maybe, but
I think the groupies still do come to the show. I think the groupies are just in a different age bracket now versus 20, 30 years ago. And I think the younger groupies that do come, I mean, Tony, now with social media and everything else, the whole game has changed, man. People don't want, you and I, back in the day, we coveted for autographs, anything. Now today, they just want they don't even want the damn autograph. They just want a picture.
Yeah.
It's or a selfie. That's it. I mean, they'll take an autograph. Don't get me wrong, but they want the picture. So, that part has changed. And, I think the take on our groupies are at our age, or who knows, they might be even older than us, Tony, a little bit as well. And maybe not as energetic as they once were, but, I'm looking forward to the tour. It's going to be a great tour. I think you have to go in an open mind, on this tour, that they're going to play the set times that they have and enjoy it and take it all in. And if you can leave saying I got my money's worth, that's all you can ask for. And I have a gut feeling you'll see these bands come around again after this tour, with maybe the big question mark over Motley Crue's head. But I think as far as the other three bands go, I think you probably will see them back out on the road again in 2023. And I would say definitely by 2024 at some capacity.
Yeah, I agree. Getting back to, and I know I went on a long rant, but getting back to best tour. So Def Leppard. When you went and saw Def Leppard, what do you think? What do you think was the best show you saw?
God, Tony, I've seen them so many times. Jesus, what tour would Def Leppard be? God, I mean, I loved them when they toured with Poison at one time.
Yeah.
That tour was a great tour.
I saw them on that
they
one.
toured with Motley Crue too, as well, I believe. At one point. I would have to say those two tours would have to be my Def Leppard favorite. Unfortunately, I would have loved to have been on like the Hysteria tour. I think that might have been the greatest tour they ever did.
Yeah, definitely. And Chris, when you say that, that's exactly what I was about to say. I was going to say, if I could choose which tour to go see Def Leppard, I definitely would have loved to see them on the Hysteria tour, because that was the tour that introduced me to Def Leppard. Because up until that point, I probably heard them but didn't know, because I was young. But Hysteria, Love Bites was like one of the most played videos on MTV. And incidentally, a lot of people may not know this, but I got my ear pierced when I was in the I guess 7th grade, 8th grade. And the reason being was because of the Pour Some Sugar on Me video. I see that Joe Elliott had his ear pierced, and he had a pretty cool mullet. Not quite as cool as mine, but he had a cool mullet, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna go get my ear pierced. I'm gonna be like this guy. And I had the pants slashed up, and I remember I went out and bought some men's underwear that were like snakeskin, and I was wearing those underneath the jeans, and I'd cut a hole where you could kind of see the underwear. Man, I thought I was a rock star when I was in 8th grade, and a lot of the girls thought I was too. But anyway, I'm with you. Hysteria would have been my favorite if I could have saw that. But I saw them with the same time you did with Poison, and I thought they put on a pretty good show. Now, we won't talk about Joan Jett, because nothing against Joan Jett, but I only saw her one time. I think I saw her one time, and So
yeah, I saw her one time, like 4 or 5 years ago. She was touring with, I think, Styx and Tesla, maybe something like that. Yeah, I want to say I that was like, and that's when she was doing the Ronda Rousey kind of song and all that stuff in Rebellion. Yep. You heard her few hits. I mean, it was a Joan Jett crowd. I mean, opener as well.
I guess my only song that I like by Joan Jett and is I Hate Myself for Loving You.
Right.
Well, that song came out when I was in middle school, about the same time as Love Bites. And my friend and I in middle school, we used to change the words around, and we have fun with that. But now, finally, Motley Crue, best tour that you ever saw Motley Crue on.
I mean, Tony, I'm gonna go. God, I mean, there's just so. I mean, darn, I'm torn. I'm torn.
Okay,
because of the final tour.
Top three.
Top three.
Top three favorite Motley Crue
I'm going to
tours.
say Crue Fest.
Yes,
the final tour has got to be in there.
Yeah.
But man, I'm going to go Carnival of Sins.
Yes,
I love that tour. It was theatrical.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of fireworks, a lot of pyro, a lot of female dancers, and the theme, the Carnival of Sins theme, to work for them and how they portrayed the Ringling Brothers act.
Yeah,
and they played for like 2.5 hours, and you heard everything on that tour, which Motley Crue doesn't do that anymore. Like, they were playing songs like Glitter and stuff that you will never hear them see or hear them play today. So I really thought I caught a tour in that where it was truly Motley Crue all night.
Yeah.
And it was a great tour for me.
And I remember, Chris, when I went to that tour, they it actually had two names. It was called they were promoting the Red, White, and Crue a greatest hits album, but they were calling it the Carnival of Sins. But I remember getting there. This was a tour where Tommy had just came back. Now we got the original Motley Crue, finally got them all back together again.
Right.
And they had no supporting act. It was just Motley Crue. There was no opening band. It was just them.
No.
And like you said, they played for 3 hours. Now 45 minutes of it was Tommy Lee's TD Cam, but I wasn't upset at all. I wasn't upset.
And sometimes, Tony, it went beyond the booby cam. I've heard a couple of shows.
Dude,
I can't use the word on the air, but
let me ask you this: which show did you see? Did you see Greensboro?
Oh no, I saw several, Tony. I saw several. I saw Greensboro. I saw DC. That tour, I had other friends in other areas that I went to. I want to say I saw them in Columbia, South Carolina as well.
Yeah.
So there were several. I saw it several times on the tour, so I knew. And one of them, when it went from the booby cam to something else, I knew that wasn't part of the show, but he went with the flow.
Yeah. That was the show. That was Greensboro, and on that night, dude. For 45 minutes.
It might have been Greensboro too, Yeah,
45 minutes he takes the camera through the whole Coliseum, and he put on if he put the camera on a chick, the boobs came out except for the one chick that was wearing like American flag tank top, and he put them on her, and she said, "No, I'm not doing it." He says, "Oh, come on, girl." He goes, "Here's your 50 minutes of fame." I said, "Hell yeah." And
man.
and then he goes to the front row and gets the mother-daughter team, and then like you said, it went from
this was unscripted.
It was unscripted. It went from the TD cam to the you know what cam,
right?
And that girl held she held, and the person I was with, I told him, I said, listen, that girl's getting a backstage pass, and her and Tommy Lee are having some fun tonight. I can tell you, I can promise you that's happening. But yeah, so my top three would have been Dr. Feelgood, because that was the very first Motley Crue show that I got to attend. My next one would be Carnival of Sins, and a lot of them were really good. But I'll have to go with the final tour just because, or the final show, just because that was it. You know, that was them saying their goodbyes, and it was such an emotional night to take place in Hollywood or Los Angeles, and a lot of stars were there. A couple of famous wrestlers were there. Chris, Dolph Ziggler was there dressed like Vince Neil. And he walked right past me, and I didn't even freaking know it was him. I was like, you know, later on, when I saw the pictures, I'm like, oh, I saw him. Wow. So a great experience.
Right.
But I really think that this stadium tour is finally taking place. We're going to be able to see it here in Charlotte in the next couple of weeks. And I absolutely cannot wait. We're going to be tailgating there in the parking lot, doing a live broadcast there as well, and it's going to be a definite good time. And
absolutely.
And Chris, it's right now with the COVID, you know, finally passing by, things opening back up. Finally, tours are happening. Man, I'm trying to go to every concert I can. I end up, you know, a lot of people may not know this about me. I know everybody who listens to this show knows I love Motley Crue. What you may not know is my favorite country artist is Hank Williams Jr., and he's going to be in Greensboro the Friday before Motley Crue comes to Charlotte. So I'm going to be seeing two concerts in the same week. And what's so crazy, Chris, is I'm sitting about the same spot for both concerts. I'm on the 7th row for Motley Crue. I'm on the 6th row for Hank Williams Jr. So I'm excited to
get your ears ready, get them well rested.
Oh man, I'm telling you, it's going to be crazy. I'm going to be deaf for a couple of days, but it's going to be worth it. And Chris, when we get off the air, go on that go on that Facebook page and check out that stage, that little sneak peek of the stage.
Yes, I definitely will.
That thing is it looks awesome. I can't wait for it.
I'm excited. We'll have a further update next week for the fans leading into the Charlotte show and the future shows, and we'll keep talking about this for several months. Excited to see what the set lists are going to look like. They're going to tweak them probably as they go along. Hey, but the bands are back out. Concerts are out. It's time to get out. It's summertime. Whether you're going to check out a local band, Tony, you know, a small amphitheater, a big outdoor amphitheater, or a stadium tour, or, you know, or anything in between, get on out. The bands are touring, and it's a great night of entertainment.
It definitely is, and I cannot wait. Chris, I might end up maxing out all my credit cards getting these shirts, man. I'm ready,
Tony,
man.
I'm telling you, I think I might be right behind you, but yeah, there'll be plenty of shirts to be had, both inside and, as you know, outside the facility.
Yeah.
As well.
Now, fans, I will tell you this. This is a word of advice from Chris and I. If you plan on buying shirts on the stadium tour, make sure that you get your shirts when you first walk in the door, because I assure you those things are going to be sold out when you get ready to leave. Because that's what happened to me at the final show. I went in, I said, I'll buy a shirt on my way out, and there wasn't any. So anyway, if you're gonna get a shirt, make sure you get it on your way in. Get them souvenirs, get those gimmicks, man. Going in the door, don't wait going out, because they may not be there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Tony, especially when it comes to the women's sizes.
Yeah.
Big time. Smalls and mediums, man, those things get scooped up. When those girls, when they want it, and that's how how it goes.
Yep.
Yeah, because you wait to the end, you never know what's going to happen, and things are still a little crazy right now. We're still coming out of some things here, but don't take anything for granted. If you see it in front of you, grab it. And hey, if you're hitting any of these summer shows, any of them, and it's hot out, stay hydrated, have a good time, wear light clothing, take it easy out there, and just take it all in, and pace yourself, because some of these shows are definitely some marathons.
Yeah, definitely so. And the deal, especially with this one, the stadium tour, It's going to be outside Charlotte. Well, not just Charlotte, but everywhere outside. And now we're getting into the summer months, especially here in the Carolinas, I think it's going to be close to 100 degrees over the next couple of days. So you definitely don't want to be out there in that mess. So make sure you stay hydrated. Drink lots of beer, and you'll be fine.
Lots of beer, and hey, a bottle of water or two along the way doesn't hurt either.
Yeah, that's true. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
so we're good. Hey, even a Red Bull doesn't hurt either.
Man,
along the way.
Listen, I know that the night of the stadium tour, I'm gonna have my share of all three of those: the beer, the Red Bull, and the water. And who knows what else I might consume while I'm there. You better watch out.
That's right.
But anyway, man, Chris, what a great show. I'm pumped for the stadium tour. I know you are, and
I'm ready.
Next week is going to be awesome because next week's show, fans, we're Chris and I are going to break down because by next week we'll they will have played a couple of shows, so we will be able to break down the set list and kind of see if they've added some surprises along the way. I'm excited to find out what that's going to be.
Absolutely, Tony. I'm pumped up. The bands are pumped up. It's summertime. It's time to just have a good time. And, boy, I can't wait. We're about 12 days away from the Charlotte show, 13 days away. And it'll be here before you know it. And, and so many other bands touring. Just get out there. There's really something for everyone.
That definitely is. And it's definitely a time to get out there. We've been set down and shut up and blocked down for 2 years. Man, it is time to get out there, be a live wire, have nothing but a good time. Whatever you want to do, but enjoy yourself. Get out there and enjoy it, man.
Absolutely. I look forward to spending some time with you at Bank of America Stadium, both pre-show and during the show. I'm sure we can catch up between sets as well, and I'm sure, who knows, there might be an after party or two around the city as well.
I'm telling you, we are in Flair country, y'all, and with him, party all night long, and that's what it's going to be there in Charlotte on June the what is the date, Chris? June the
28th.
28th, yeah,
Tuesday night, last Tuesday in June.
Yep, it's going to be great. Well, fans, thank you for joining us on our show this week. Make sure you go like our Facebook page. I know I don't update it very often, but still like it, because you never know. Chris and I might throw out a live feed, and you'll be able to see us and all that good stuff. So make sure you do that, and we will see you next week right here on the Binge Buster Show.
Thank you for listening to the Binge Buster Show. Make sure you like us on Facebook and download us on your favorite podcast platform.